Today I wanted to talk about the ESFP personality and my experience dating as an INFJ, dating an ESFP. I only have my experiences to give to you as far as dating an ESFP as an INFJ. And everybody's different. There are ESFPs that are probably a lot different than him, and there are also INFJs that have had different experiences than I have. So I just want you guys to know this is not, don't take this and be like, oh, all ESFPs are like this. But so yeah, I'm going to dive into my little story about dating an ESFP. Say hello, pumpkin. So I met this ESFP guy about almost 6 years ago. It'll be 6 years in December. And I was actually on my way to Cram Jam, which is a university event at my former university that I graduated from. It was an event during finals week, like right before finals. It was so you could just like hang out and dance and eat food and stuff. I personally, before going there, I thought it was going to be a study session, hence the name Cram Jam, but no, it was not. It was like a little bit of a party kind of thing, well, as much as it could be on campus. And so I was on my way to Cram Jam. I was walking past the dorms. I was with a couple of friends, and then I see this guy who I believe is an ESTP. He was very well known on campus for having like a lot of hair and just kind of being a magnetic personality in general. A lot of people knew him and liked him. And he was with the ESFP that I'm going to refer to. And my first impression of the ESFP was he was kind of like obnoxious in a way and a little bit jerky. One of the first things he told me was, oh, I'm Egyptian. And I don't know why he said that, maybe to sound more interesting. He's not Egyptian. And he, I don't know, just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I wasn't like super into him at first. And so we were walking and he was just like, you know, walking around like he was cooler than everybody else. And then we get to Cram Jam, and that was what, 2012, December 2012. So the theme was Jersey Shore, which was really funny. But anyways, so we go in there, we get some food, do whatever. I'm dancing with my friends, and I'm actually like, we actually got other people to dance. We were the first people out on the dance floor. It's just a section of the commons, that was what our food hall was called, that was blocked off for dancing. And the ESTP guy and I were dancing a lot, and it was really silly and stuff. We weren't like dancing together, but we were just like in a group, you know, like how you form a little circle when you're dancing with a group. And it was really fun, and we were having a blast. And then the ESFP was just kind of walking around like he was cooler than everybody else, and just kind of, he was a bit guarded, but also like you could tell that he was very extroverted by the way he spoke. This is a side note. ESTPs and ESFPs lead with extrovert sensing. That's their primary function, and I think ESFPs especially are easy for me to type because they have such a, like their pattern of speech is very SE. It's like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like I can pick up on it so quickly. And ESTPs also have that, but sadly I don't know as many ESTPs as ESFPs. But so is life, I guess. Anyways, so he was, like I said, acting whatever, and we kind of lost touch for a little bit, but I kind of heard about him through the grapevine. A lot of people were talking about him that I knew, which I found really odd. And it might be because I had a lot of friends in common with him, but even like my roommates at the time, where I remember them talking about him because they had like this acquaintance that was a girl that was, I guess, dating him or something, and supposedly he was kind of a player. So yeah, I didn't have too much contact with him. We would sometimes go to the same parties. I did not drink. I was also underage, but I wasn't drinking. I was just a lot more closed off than even I am today. And of course, he was like the life of the party, very extroverted, outgoing. And I remember this one party that was at one of my friends' dorms, and it was just getting started. It was before like all the people came and stuff. And we were just sitting on the couches, and then the ESFP guy arrives. And this was the first time that I actually got a different glimpse of him. Like, he was less douchebaggy and a lot more, I don't know, it was just like more playful and seemed more comfortable. He was kind of teasing me, and I was teasing him, and we were just kind of having a good time. But at the time, I didn't even think about like dating him or anything like that. Plus, I liked this one guy, and we had just kind of started dating and stuff, or like we were about to date. And anyways, months went by, and then it was my sophomore year of college, and I was an RA in the south side of campus, which was also where the international dorms were. The dorms that I was an RA for it was like the older part of south side campus, and it was like down a hill in this little area, whereas with the international dorms were like in the newer part of south side, so they were like on the hill, and it was nicer dorms and stuff. I heard that he was still going to parties, and I actually had to bust one of the parties that he was in, and I remember seeing him and he like ran away because we had to call the police or something. And that leads me into, it was roughly the end of January, early February of 2014. I was still an RA, and for some reason I thought it was a good idea to post on Facebook, if you like this status, then I'll go on a date with you. And I had a lot more response than what I thought I would have, and I don't know what I was thinking. It was really dumb. But anyways, I posted that. And I went on a few dates, and actually one of the people that liked the post was the ESFP guy. So we ended up going on a date. I believe it was a sushi restaurant or something, and it ended up being like a really good time. It was really fun. We were just talking the whole time. He was so different than me, but somehow we had a lot in common. Our lifestyles were completely different, but then we like talked even longer. And then this leads me into the fact that I'm an RA, or I was an RA at the time. So, as I've mentioned, the ESTP guy and the ESFP guy, and that the fact that they used to party on the international dorms and stuff like that, they actually were banned from campus because of it, or at least the dorms. And I found this out actually through an RA meeting. We were all sitting in a circle or a semicircle, And our RD handed out 2 pictures of guys, like almost like a mugshot, but it wasn't. Just basically, oh, if you see them, report them. And it was the ESTP and the ESFP. At this time, that's when I like already went on a date with him. We ended up going out for Valentine's Day as well. So at this point, I really liked him. We liked each other, and we were starting to kind of date. So it was kind of humorous because people were like, oh, he's so cute and stuff, like the girls. And I was just like, I know exactly where he is. Because he would actually come by my dorm, which was not good. But still. I guess that was my rebellious side as an INFJ. Not that we even did anything. I think the most we ever did was kiss on the lips. But still, it was funny. But yeah, we dated for a few months, and I think I was the reason why, well, I broke up with him, but I sometimes wonder, like, I really didn't give him, I just feel bad for like the way everything played out, because he portrays himself as such a like a kind of, or at least at the time, he kind of portrayed himself as like this macho, like kind of douchebaggy guy that didn't really care about other people. I mean, he did, but it was like he just cared about being the life of the party, like being in the center of attention. But he was actually super sweet and one of the most, if not the most respectful guys I've ever dated. He never pressured me to do anything. I've dated guys in the past that have tried to pressure me to do stuff. He never pressured me. He was just a very genuine, sweet guy. One caveat to this is the fact my sister hated him for some reason, and he didn't really like her either. And they just were like, my sister's an ISTJ, and they just like bashed heads all the time. They just were not, it just, something about him she just did not like. And to this day, she's not super fond of him. So I just found that kind of funny. But anyways, I was kind of cold with him. I was a little bit delusional at the time about a certain guy that I liked from high school. That was just so stupid. It kind of held me back in a lot of ways from other relationships as well. But I just was like emotionally distant. I never labeled, even though I wasn't seeing anybody else, he wasn't seeing anyone else. I just didn't like say, oh, we're in a relationship or something, even though like he asked me like a number of times to be like, hey, like, what are we, like, all this stuff. And again, he was just very sweet about everything, but at a certain point I just kind of dropped off because there were a few things. I felt like he partied a little too much for me, and that was probably the main reason why I ended things with him. I just knew that like I didn't want to change him, and I didn't want him to feel resentful towards me if I ever did try to change him. But that was a behavior that I just saw. I don't even think I addressed the fact that I found it to be an issue, which was kind of immature of me. But at the time I was dating him, I was 20, and I think he was 25 maybe, 24, 25. And I'm not saying that's an excuse, but it wasn't like, maybe he's 26, I think. Just kidding, I don't know. But I was just in the wrong in that situation. We kept in contact, we still are in contact. I talk to him occasionally, but it just like, we kind of became friends afterwards, and we would kind of keep up with each other every once in a while, like hang out or talk and stuff. And it's really sad, but he actually got really sick recently. He actually has cancer, and it makes me like look back on the way I treated him, and it wasn't like I was ever really mean. I just didn't give him the emotional support that I should have. I didn't communicate enough with him, and just makes me like feel sad for where he is now. I'm not saying that it would have ever worked out, and I think he's getting better. I know he's getting treatment and stuff, but it's always sad to hear. I cried a lot when I first found out. But yeah, I know that's kind of like a sad ending to my experience with an ESFP. But to wrap it all up, I think he was one of the best guys that I've ever dated. And I just felt like we had a lot in common. Again, not lifestyle-wise, but just in general. And he was just a really sweet person. And again, I check in on him occasionally, but I really wish him the best. He's such an incredible person that I hope everything goes well, and that if you do believe in God, if you could pray for him, or even if you don't, that would be amazing. I know his family and close friends are really pulling for him, and yeah, so to kind of end on a better note, thank you guys so much for subscribing. I noticed that we hit 300 subscribers, and I really appreciate it. It was something I wasn't really expecting so quickly, and I really like talking to everybody on this channel in the comments or in person, and I hope that you guys are having a great day, and again, please pray for him, or at least keep him in your thoughts. Bye.